reach out to MSME offices. They should explore what are the schemes available. There are plenty of schemes available that we can get benefit of.
Yeah.
Historically, industry has not tapped the funds which have been available for the industry, but we can forget the past and try to leverage the help that is available by the government at this time.
Yeah.
And very interesting comment that in Indian Ceramic Association could be the leading chapter for reaching out for some of these government outreach program to have the industry voice heard by the government. Very interesting comment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Admin, could I request you to flash a couple of poll questions?
Yes, please. So we have the second poll coming up. Yes, I would request everybody to please share your thoughts and vote for the option that you feel is right for you.
Okay, so the question is, what would be the impact of COVID on the price of ceramic finished products? So there are four options. One is it will increase, price will go down, price will remain same, or it's very difficult or too early to comment.
20 more seconds. All right, then we close it here.
Okay, admin, why don't you flash the next question as well?
Yes, please. So we have the third poll going up for the audience.
So the question we have on the screen, it says, how long would it take for full recovery for ceramic industry post-COVID impact? Whether it will take 6 months, whether the full recovery will be in 12 months, or whether it will take 24 months, which is 2 years.
All right, so we close at 35 seconds.
Nitin sir, this is Amita from Indian Ceramics. We are getting very good questions on our Q&A. So I would request during the end of session, I think you should select someone to be answered here.
Certainly. So we'll have about 10-15 minutes, I believe, at the end. So we should be able to catch up on some of the questions.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Nitin, do you want me to send out one more question for the poll?
Okay, let's do.
All right. So we have the fourth poll for the audience. Please contribute with your expert answers.
Fourth question is, what would be the strategy for the manufacturers to overcome the COVID impact on the production of ceramic products? First answer is that you start slow production and then ramp up to market demand. Second option is that you will start with the normal production and then adjust to the market demand, or you will look to diversify your current product lines.
So 10 more seconds to go. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Nitin, we can continue the discussion.
Moving forward, the last question I have, which is also very pertinent today and on top of people's mind, whether it's a owner of the business or a person working for a company. Global economic scenario, today we have a lot of news about unemployment increasing, companies looking to cut costs, which directly some of the actions relating, turning into the reduction in employment, things like that. So the question I have is, what strategy that businesses can take from the employment perspective going forward? If Mr. Shah, if I can request you to address.
Yes. From my point of view, trained manpower is always scarce in India, and it's more so relevant for ceramic industry. And I feel that losing a trained employee from the company is much more expensive. In short term, it looks a cost reduction measure, but in the long run, if you want to be successful in developing a business, losing people is like losing one of your important assets. So it's very, very important to look at it from this perspective, that can we hold on to our team and the people, because they are the important asset of the organization, to my point of view. Uh, of course, this process is very similar whether it is in the international market or a domestic market. Human talent is important in this respect. So uh, I think any organization, be small or a big, I would advise that if they find a way in a difficult time like this, if they find it difficult to fulfill the complete salary payment obligations, if they find a way together with the team, I'm sure retaining a people would be anytime a good long-term solution than just losing them and reducing the cost now. That's just my point.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Mr. Chandak, do you have a different perspective, or Mr. Panchal?
I have a very similar but maybe little different deviation to what Mr. Ashutosh just now said. I do respect the views that yes, the good talent has to be maintained, but I look into this challenging time as something to organizations has to face these challenges to create an opportunity as well. So one has to look into what is a good cost and what is a bad cost. So good cost is definitely a high performing team, a talented team, what just now Mr. Ashutosh Shah mentioned about, and no organization should actually shun away those things and try to save cost there. And of course, the bad cost is any organization of large size would have some kind of deadwood, some kind of non-performance, some kind of flaps, which at any cost you carrying forward would slow you down, would put a saddle to your running shoes. So it's better that pull it off and take it out and make it very transparent. At the same time, I echo the voice. You need to ultimately form a team of warriors to win this war. So the warriors can be only created. It's not that about strength and muscles, powers, or anything. It is all about great amount of inner strength. If you can drive through motivations and great amount of communications to your team, then probably that is the you fire their inner strength. You keep them motivated, keep them challenged to find out always, and of course find out and align to your quick processes design, which is like quick changes internally. They adapt to those changes, calibrate themselves, and still deliver. So because we all know it's going to be dynamic situations for 4-6 quarters more till this thing sustains and till the thing remains calm. So probably I would take an approach of a good cost, bad cost, as well as I would like to think as a excellent communications to charge off those high performing talented team so that they form like a barrier to win the war. And that's what I would look at that situation from the employee, because I believe any sensitive employee would also understand the difficulty the corporate would going through, and they know for sure that this is the time to face the challenges collectively and collaborate and try to align with the corporate communications falling down. So,
very interesting comment, Mr. Chandak. Very interesting way to phrase the warriors and the deadwood. So very interesting comment. I think some of the consequences of this COVID situation cannot be avoided, but important to differentiate what the warriors and the deadwood.
yes.
And it's very important for industry to understand that the talent pool ultimately is the people who win the war, who generate the business and win the business that needs to be protected. So very interesting discussion. I must let me take a few minutes to summarize what we discussed today, and then we will go to the question answer and try to capture or tackle as many questions as we can. And we also need to have a view on the poll answers to look at what is the view of the industry. Admin, it might be good for you to flash the last question before I summarize.
Right, I'll do that. So we have the last poll coming up. Here is a question. Mr. Nitin would like to read it for our audience.
Yeah, so the question is, what is the expectation from the government to support the ceramic industry to fight back COVID situation? And there are three options: whether government can provide some type of subsidy, which is direct payment to businesses, whether there can be some type of tax rebate or reduction in taxes, or better loan rates. Please select the one that you believe is the one to go.
10 more seconds. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, admin. Just a brief view on overall key takeaway from a very interesting discussion. That the fundamentals of Indian economies are very strong. We are different in terms of where the demand generates, and those fundamentals remain strong. So the challenges that we see in the industry are more short term. It's anybody's guess how long the recovery would take. But if I hear it right, it's between 6 months to 2 years. In between, we should see the demand to respond back. In terms of the only live example that we can think of, which has been in the situation that we are in, is China. About 2 months back, end of January, early February, China started to do very similar lockdown that our country has implemented. They lifted this lockdown end of March or early April. And we see that the demand in China is coming back. As of today, the feedback I received, the demand is catching up, 80 to 90% of what it was pre-COVID. The businesses are catching up to that. And businesses are actually gearing up to reach to normal demand level. Now, whether it takes 3 months or 6 months to reach to the normal demand level, that needs to be seen. But I must say that the overall sentiments from the Chinese economy that I'm seeing are very positive. So if that is the example we can take, perhaps India will behave, Indian economy will behave in similar fashion. Now, there are many short-term challenges and opportunities. There has been a number of mentioning of quality, and I think very rightly put that quality is not about the quality of the product, but quality of overall organization, whether it's the systems, processes, people, skill set, raw material, or finished good. Now, we need to keep that in mind that when we look at reduction in cost, we often forget that quality remains one of the highest cost leveraging lever in any organization. So my view on this would be that organization should leverage the supplier base, which is available to them to bring the best ideas, and focus on quality to not only reduce your cost, but also how do you position yourself to capture the opportunity that this COVID situation present. Okay, in terms of opportunities, one critical aspect, a question often being raised, and a poll question as well that we will see very soon, is whether post-COVID industry should focus on increasing price or decreasing price, or what should be the strategy. I think unless a business has a cost base which is competitive, nobody can match. There is no way you can win gaining business or gaining volume on price. It just doesn't work. You reduce the price, your competitor going to do the same thing. So it's a golden opportunity for the industry to correct the pricing, which has been sought by the industry for the last couple of years to correct, and cash cycle. The industry has a very poor cash cycle, and this presents a very golden opportunity for the industry to correct the board and leverage it. And the last comment from my side, as some of the panelists mentioned, that Indians and human beings have two weapons. One is hope, and second, resilience. So we have seen many challenges in the past, and I believe there would be many challenges going forward. And I'm very sure that we and industry will do very well. It's a short-term challenge, and important to protect the talent and the skill set. In fact, it's the right time to invest in the skill set to leverage the available time that we have on hand. with that being said, I suggest that we go forward, look at the panel question, the responses, and then some of the panelists can comment. Admin, if you can put the first one, or question and answers.
Yes, please.
How do you see the Indian ceramic product demand? That's very interesting. Very interesting. So Mr. Chandak, maybe I can ask you to comment on this. 40%.
It is like a divided opinion of increase and decrease equally. So I still will go ahead with a longer term perspective of 4 to 6 quarter increase in demand. So I stay there, and I have got, like we all know for sure that we have a consumption story at home, as well as we have got a large scale export opportunity opening up for us. So I don't see in any ways the demand is depleting in a 4 to 6 quarters down line. So I still stay with my time frame view of increased side, and I have my judgment says this, that this will come back with a lot of government temporary government infrastructure spending might be less, but going forward it will improve further. Maybe 4 to 6 quarters we will see again government spending improving, your global market opening up, you're facing the challenges of global market, and you have got large scales opportunity to actually pan out your meet the demand. So probably I don't see it is going to be decreasing in 4 to 6 quarters going forward. Yes, of course, temporary for a shorter period of 4 quarters, you have demand destructions, you have all those challenges, and you are likely to run your supply chain, your production line at a much underutilized capacity. So yes, that is there, but beyond 4 to 6 quarters, it's going to rapidly pick up, and that's what is my belief, and I strongly remain there with this belief.
Very interesting. I guess one way to look at the answer is that 60% of people have said that the demand will remain same or increase.
Yes.
So if you look at the remain same and the increase, the total comes out to be 60%.
See, we don't need to also we all let us read with little bit of data that when we were around before the COVID. So I just say this is like before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID kind of situation. So before COVID, in any case, we were all discussing with great amount of any of the discussion circle. You will find that our economy has not done well as what projected of 6.6, 6.7 GDP. We have fallen down to 5.3, 5.2 level. Then there is a data about the authenticity of GDP figure and all those stuff. And then comes before the year start, the financial year could start, and before the COVID could come, we could see ratings of GDP ratings of near about 5.25, 5.5. And with that, like you were not doing so great when the year was closing, even though there was not COVID. So I don't think so that with that kind of expectations across the world, we were already there. And it's about a temporary phase of 4 to 6 quarters. Maybe yes, if the demand is likely to be restored back, and widespread opportunities across, widespread opportunities. So I believe the premium will become more premium, and the value will be requiring premium at free. So that's what is going to be game. So.
Very, very interesting, Mr. Chandak. I don't know whether Mr. Shah, you have a different view on this question of demand and the answer.
Not really. In fact, I was very happy to see that we have a lot of steam, within our industry colleagues. I think India is heading for big time to be a very important global player in the ceramic. I have no doubt about it. I think we have a long history, and if you see last 10 years of product development, that speaks for itself. I think we are heading for wonderful time, and all these people who marked here, I see them growing, and a big thumbs up for our industry.
Yes, a big thumbs up. Well said. Well said. Well said. Admin, can we go to the next question, please?
Yes.
Admin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. So how do we see the price? So, well, Mr. Panchal, do you want to take a view on this? I think it's very it's a pretty
The
split.
product price, so our Chandak Sahab and Asutosh ji will can share more, or you can share more. So market product prices.
I feel personally that with the next 3 to 4 quarters, as we all predict that, or we are anticipating the capacity to be underutilized, our import-based raw material will be having a valued against a depreciating rupee. So all those labor costs going up. As of now, no government incentives has been announced for this sector, so I'm just not keeping that as a zero level. And all this putting in one basket and little bit of respite on the energy cost, definitely your cost of input cost goes up drastically high. So, and at the same time, we all know, and for next 3 to 4 quarters, the demand is going to be pretty less. So, and you also, Nitin, agreed that this is the time we have got a cash issues in the industry. We have got many of those challenges. So we need to really frame as an industry, collaborate on those platforms that not to beat down the price just to drive the volume and fuel your kiln. So you need to actually work for your business. And ultimately we are in business. So you need to see whether it is underutilized capacity or if close to utilize 100% capacity, you need to, at end of the day, you need to make money. So obviously that goes without saying that I feel like if you look at the response also, so not sure is something which is more tilted towards increase in price, not actually about, they only have the fear of decrease in price. And it is more of the population talks about increase in price. Everybody anticipates, because where we have reached in terms of finished product prices in India, and equally bad for any of those indigenous raw material as well. So probably days are there that the prices are likely to go up with the surrounding less amount of capacity utilizations and labor cost at the top of it, labor cost going up. And so definitely this is all going to put pressures onto the input cost. And hence, I believe industry need to collaborate to pass on those things and demand their rightful share, not to trying to be greedy at the same time. I maintain it and offer value to the customer. So it's again going to be a tightrope walk.
But yes, I fully agree, and very interesting comment to you know, one of the reflection that businesses have to do, that if you go to look at buying market or buying demand, you actually compromise your own capacity to reflect to the opportunity that we will see, which will certainly require a lot more investment. So if you take the view of dropping price and trying to gain short-term volume, you are likely to lose out when the opportunity presents itself in terms of growth. So business ceramic industry over last few years have not done very well in terms of profitability. So I think further going down this path will only make the industry more challenged to get growth and
We'll agree on to this fact that we are under a capital pressure. The financial panel is always under the stress, and it will be further under stress. So we cannot just stop and try to be afloat. So that's not the
very interesting. Next poll results segment, please. Will stress.
Yes, Mr. Nitin, I think we'll have to keep a time check. We have 10 more minutes before we wrap up our session.
So let's flash the question. Maybe you can put all three if it's possible to see it, then we can pick.
I'll just have a check. Yeah. There seems to be some network issue here. I'm unable to, yeah, just a minute. We can have the final round of question and answer, Mr. Nitin. Meantime, I'll try to fix it.
Okay. So question that we have seen through the registration process. Amita, is that okay? We go through those questions, or you want to have different question to be addressed?
I think, sir, into our
The one which have been came yesterday, or
yeah,
who wanna take on that question? Mr. Shah?
Yes, I think I would say certainly tile would be more affected. Multiple reason. It has an alternative flooring material possibility. That is one aspect. Second aspect is that the brand is less relevance, less pronounced compared to sanitary ware. And sanitary ware need a little prior planning in terms of plumbing techniques. So it is something which in a short term changing order is slightly difficult. So I would say that during this period I would see tile as a sector would be more influenced compared to sanitary ware.
Okay. Next question is from Mr. Arindam Chaudhary from Somani Ceramics. His question is, what steps government policymakers should take in long and short term to attract ceramic factories to ship their waste from China to India? Mr. Panchal, if you want to take on that question.
For accepting the or inviting the all over world investment to our country is the basically the what we require the infrastructure like industrial areas, industries related cluster based industries. Secondary the process, what is the one point or one point solutions that we have to provide. And third is the very important that I would like to share with the whole our audience, that if as a being industry, if we are asking that we'll get the like BPL some incentive or some free of cost, then it is very difficult. But we can ask, like I would like to share one example of the automobiles industry. Automobiles industry is what data what I have seen last 15 days. They are predicting that the 50% minus growth is going to be, and they have suggested very good solutions that the government have to support the exchange of vehicle, in which government will provide 30% GST, 10% GST against the 30% GST. So that is a beneficiary. You have to shift from the GST point of view. Similar way, if some companies are investing, or even our Indian company, our base Indian companies are investing, they are promoting new project, they are expanding project, that we industry, we are not asking any free of cost, any incentive, but we can ask that support, we can ask the soft term loan, we can ask the some GST relaxation, so which could be a booster dose for our industry. So, and on that basis, we can make the platform where we can take the world-class technology, for which government will provide the special incentive or special support, incentive by soft loan. I am always believing, because Ashutosh ji, we have tried for cluster development, Center of Excellence for India, Gujarat. We have found that we are able to coordinate, because our industry uh, platform where we can speak, we can have a collaborative the action plan. So that is also one of the, that first we have to be a strengthen our association. We have to speak with the one voice, and on that basis we can ask support that how we can provide the outside investment in our country, and as well as the expansion as far as the new investment in our Indian industry also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Panchal. Very, very interesting comments. Moving on to next question, I think we'll have to wrap it up. So the next question is coming from Mr. Akshay Patel from Ambika Techno Engineering. His question is, can effect of corona disease change the way ceramic tile industry work perform permanently? Or maybe I rephrase it, what are the permanent impact of this corona disease on the way ceramic industry work? Dr. Sharma, would you like to take on this question?
No.
You are mute, Dr.
Oh, sorry,
Sharma.
sorry.
If you sorry.
Yeah. No, the tile industry that they are working on lot of that antibacterial, all those elements. Yeah. So same way, in long run, we can look into that our whether tiles also can be antibacterial for this COVID-19, all that. It is long-term like R&D. So that way we have to think. Thank you.
So some of the product from the antibacterial kind of thing. What about the way ceramic industry run in terms of operations? Do you see some permanent impact or some permanent way?
Suppose in Morbi, so many industries are highly labor oriented. So they can go for some suppose all that transportation, something that automation and semi-automation they can go for. That way, that quality will be far better than what it is being used by the labor. That way, we can think that will be permanent solution.
Okay, so you believe some level of automation will creep into the industry to to balance some of the social distancing that we have to manage short term and perhaps longer term as well. So okay, very interesting perspective, Dr. Sharma. So with that being said, I think we can go on, and it's just such a intense and interesting topic that we are living in today. We can perhaps spend another 90 minutes and still will have a lot to discuss and talk. But I think we got to respect the time and close the discussion. So with that being said, my sincere thank to panelists for sparing time. It has been a very, very interesting discussion and very interesting insight. I think industry will benefit from what they heard today, and it was much required in the current level of anxiety and uncertainty that we face today. My special thanks to Indian Ceramic Asia to create this platform and provide the opportunity for industry to hear the leaders and what different part of the business, different segment of the business, what they're thinking and how do they see the situation. I think the industry will benefit. My special thanks to Mr. Tarun Marwa, Amita, and rest of the Indian Ceramic team for the hard work. These events typically require a lot of planning and hard work, and it has gone very well. I believe we all are very thankful for the opportunity to hear these views and calibrate our approach. So with that being said, admin, I believe we can close the call. My sincere thanks to the audience for sparing their valuable time to listen to the panel, and I hope and believe that challenges are short term, and we will all play a responsible role in this as we come out of the COVID situation. So stay safe, stay well, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tarun,
Thank you, Tarun and team, and
thank you very much to all the members. I would like to just bring about a small little slide for our next webinar, which is planned for 1st of May. Admin, can you just flash that?
Yes, please.
So we have our next topic coming on 1st of May, which is promoting energy efficiency and renewable energy in ceramics industry in India. This is scheduled for 1st of May between 3 p.m. Starting at 3 p.m. We will be shortly sharing the email with everybody on the speakers and the complete content of the same. Thank you very much.
Okay,
And
Thank you.
see you again.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Thank
Thank you very
thank
much.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.